Life is not a game, and purpose cannot survive random living. Please write that down. Purpose cannot survive random living. A life designed by God cannot be managed like an accident and still produce destiny. You cannot treat Monday like a mistake, Tuesday like a mood, Wednesday like a guess, Thursday like a gamble, Friday like entertainment, and then expect Sunday to produce fulfillment. No. Life does not work like that. When I talk about gambling with purpose, I am not just talking about sitting at a table with cards in your hand. I am talking about waking up with no intention. I am talking about living by moods, accidents, procrastination, comparison, and unexamined habits. I am talking about letting your feelings become your calendar. I am talking about letting other people's success become your measurement. I am talking about delaying obedience and calling it waiting on God. Oh dear, I think I am already in trouble. You see, every day is not just time passing. Every day is purpose, either being invested or wasted. Time is the currency of purpose. If you waste time, you are not just wasting hours, you are spending a portion of your assignment on nothing. That is why random living is dangerous. Random living treats a divinely designed life as if it were an accident. And when you treat design like accident, you abuse the product. Let me ask you a question. Are your daily choices cooperating with God's original design? Think about that. Don't answer too quickly. Are your appetites cooperating? Are your friendships cooperating? Are your habits cooperating? Are your private decisions cooperating? Are your mornings cooperating? Are your finances cooperating? Are your conversations cooperating with God's original design? Say this out loud. My life was designed, not guessed. Say it again. My life was designed, not guessed. One more time. Because your spirit needs to hear your mouth. Confess the truth. My life was designed, not guessed. That means you are not an experiment. You are not divine improvisation. God did not create you and then wonder what to do with you. A manufacturer never creates a product first and assigns purpose later. The purpose exists before the product appears. The chair was purpose before the wood was cut. The car was purpose before the engine was assembled. The phone was purpose before the screen was touched. In other words, the reason for the thing determines the design of the thing. So if God created you, then your purpose existed before your birth. Before your mother knew your name, God knew your assignment. Before you had a resume, heaven had an intention. Before people judge your worth, God had already designed your contribution. That is why you must stop asking life to entertain you and start asking God to direct you. Some of you are too casual with something too holy. You are casual with your mind, casual with your body, casual with your words, casual with your relationships, casual with your gift, casual with your future, and then you call the results warfare. Sometimes it is not warfare, it is mismanagement. Talk to the hand if you don't like it, but it is still true. Stay with this teaching because we are going somewhere. If this is already confronting your heart, like this video as an act of agreement, not entertainment. And if you are serious about becoming a disciplined steward of purpose, subscribe and stay under this instruction because your life is too valuable to be managed by accident. The problem is not that people have no purpose. The problem is that many are managing purpose like a lottery ticket. A manufacturer never creates without intention. Please write that down. Nothing intelligent is produced without a purpose, a design, a function, and an environment. If the maker is intelligent, the product is intentional. If the product is intentional, then the design is not an accident. In other words, the shape of a thing is evidence of the reason for the thing. A car does not wake up one morning and say, I think I will become a boat. No. It has wheels, not fins. It has tires, not wings. It has an engine designed for roads, not oceans. The car does not vote on its purpose. The car discovers its purpose by examining its design and consulting the manufacturer. If you put that car in the ocean and it sinks, you cannot say the car failed. You failed to understand its purpose. Oh dear, are you listening? A car was designed for roads. An airplane was designed for air. A fish was designed for water. A seed was designed for soil. Everything created carries within its design a clue to its assignment. So why do you think you are the only thing God created without specifications? Why do you think your life is supposed to be guessed? Why do you think your future is supposed to be invented by experimenting with everything that excites you? Purpose is not invented by experimentation. Purpose is discovered by returning to the intention of the Creator. Say that out loud. Purpose is discovered, not invented. Say it again. Purpose is discovered, not invented. This is why your gifts matter. This is why your burdens matter. This is why your frustrations matter. This is why there are problems you cannot ignore, even when other people walk past them comfortably. Your gift is a clue. Your burden is a clue. Your ability is a clue. Your righteous frustration is a clue. Your inner conviction is a clue. There are things that disturb you because you were designed to address them. There are needs that keep calling your name because your design is connected to their solution. Some of you are trying to become interested in what God never designed you to solve, and you are ignoring the thing that keeps burning in your spirit. That is why you are tired. That is why success around you makes you jealous instead of instructed. You are comparing your road to somebody else's runway. You are measuring your seed by somebody else's ocean. You are trying to function in the wrong environment and calling the pain confusion. God told Jeremiah, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I appointed you. That means appointment came before appearance. Assignment came before opportunity. Purpose came before the body. In other words, Jeremiah did not arrive and then God started searching for something for him to do. No. The need existed. The assignment existed. The intention existed. And then God formed a body to carry it. Write this down. You did not arrive first and receive purpose later. Purpose required your arrival. That is powerful. Tweet that to somebody who is wasting their life trying to find themselves in entertainment. You did not arrive first and receive purpose later. Purpose required your arrival. This means your birth was not merely biological, it was governmental. Heaven released you into time because something in time required what God placed in you. Your generation is not waiting for your excuses. Your family is not waiting for your moods. Your community is not waiting for your endless experimentation. There is a problem somewhere with your name on it, and your design is evidence that God expected you to function. So stop asking life to entertain you. Life is not your television. Life is not your casino. Life is not your playground. Life is an assignment. Begin asking the manufacturer, why was I produced? What problem was I designed to solve? What environment activates my gift? What laws govern my function? Because if you do not ask the manufacturer, you will ask the market, and the market will use you. You will ask your feelings, and your feelings will confuse you. You will ask people, and people will label you according to their need, not according to your design. The tragedy of life is not death. The tragedy of life is living successfully at the wrong thing. You can be celebrated for what God never signed you to complete. You can be paid for what is slowly killing your purpose. You can be applauded in the wrong environment while your true assignment is starving. And once purpose is established, the next issue is law. Because purpose only functions when laws are obeyed. A car may be designed for the road, but it still needs fuel, maintenance, oil, alignment, pressure, and responsible driving. Design does not cancel law. Purpose does not excuse discipline. If you violate the laws that protect the thing, you destroy the thing, even if the thing was created by God. So now we must talk about laws, because you don't break laws. Laws break you. Please hear me carefully. Success is not luck. Success is not magic. Success is not a mystery reserved for a few special people. Success is the predictable result of obedience to laws. Write that down. Success is predictable obedience to law. Failure is predictable disobedience to law. In other words, your future is not mysterious when your daily laws are visible. Many people are praying for a future they are violating every day. They are asking God for increase while breaking the laws of stewardship. They are asking God for health while breaking the laws of the body. They are asking God for influence while breaking the laws of character. They are asking God for purpose while breaking the laws that protect purpose. Then when the harvest comes, they call it an attack. No. Sometimes it is not an attack. Sometimes it is a crop. There is a difference between a preference and a law. Preferences can be negotiated. Laws cannot. You may prefer tea, I may prefer coffee. That is preference. You may prefer blue, I may prefer red. That is preference. You may prefer quiet, I may prefer music. That is preference. But if both of us step off the roof of a tall building, gravity does not ask for our preference. Gravity does not say, how do you feel about falling today? Gravity is not impressed by your opinion, your mood, your culture, your title, your denomination, or your tears. A law is not emotional. A law is built to produce a result. This is why you do not break laws. Laws break you. Say it out loud. You do not break laws. Laws break you. If a man jumps from a building, God does not have to come down from heaven and punish him. The punishment is already built into the law he violated. The judgment is in the system. Gravity was not angry. Gravity was just faithful. Oh dear, are you thinking? This is very important because many people think consequences mean God is mad. No, consequences often mean law is working. If you put your hand in fire, God does not need to send a prophet to burn you. Fire has a law. If you drink poison, God does not need to convene a committee in heaven to damage your body. Poison has a law. If you plant corn, you do not harvest mangoes. Soil has a law. Seeds have laws. Bodies have laws. Relationships have laws. Money has laws. Time has laws. Purpose has laws. And the tragedy is that many people respect natural laws more than they respect spiritual laws. You would not argue with gravity, but you argue with discipline. You would not negotiate with fire, but you negotiate with integrity. You would not plant nothing in a field and expect a harvest, but you waste years, waste mornings, waste gifts, waste energy, and then expect destiny to produce fruit. Talk to the hand if you don't like it, but you cannot harvest what you refuse to sow. The Apostle Paul gave us a law in Galatians. He said, be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. That is not a suggestion. That is not a sermon decoration. That is a law. Whatever a man sows, that is what returns. If you sow neglect, neglect returns. If you sow laziness, laziness returns. If you sow distraction, distraction returns. If you sow procrastination, delay returns. If you sow bitterness, bitterness returns. If you sow discipline, discipline returns. If you sow obedience, obedience returns with fruit. Write this down. Choice is the seed. Consequence is the harvest. Say it again. Choice is the seed. Consequence is the harvest. One more time. Because your future is listening. Choice is the seed. Consequence is the harvest. This means no decision is empty. Every choice carries a seed. Every habit carries a harvest. Every private act is planting something. Every conversation plants something. Every delay plants something. Every compromise plants something. Every appetite you refuse to govern becomes a farmer in your future. That is why casual living is so dangerous. You think you are just enjoying a moment, but you are planting a season. You think you are just delaying obedience, but you are planting loss. You think you are just distracted, but you are planting confusion. And please understand this. Prayer does not cancel the harvest of ignored laws. Prayer is not a substitute for obedience. Prayer aligns your heart so obedience becomes possible. Prayer gives you sensitivity, strength, wisdom, courage, and submission. But prayer will not make irresponsibility successful. Prosperity does not come because you prayed over disorder. Health does not come because you shouted over abuse. Purpose does not come because you cried over procrastination. Prayer must lead you back to law. Some of you want God to bless what he told you to correct. You want him to multiply what he told you to manage. You want him to protect what you keep exposing. You want him to promote what you refuse to discipline. That is not faith. That is presumption. Faith obeys law because faith trusts the manufacturer. So if your daily laws are visible, your future is not mysterious. Show me your habits and I can see your harvest. Show me your friendships and I can see your direction. Show me your calendar and I can see your priorities. Show me your spending and I can see your values. Show me your private discipline and I can see whether purpose is being protected or slowly destroyed. This is why the question is not, do I have a destiny? The question is, am I obeying the laws that preserve it? Because everybody wants destiny, but very few people want the laws that protect destiny. Everybody wants greatness, but very few want discipline. Everybody wants harvest, but very few inspect the seed. So now we must ask a dangerous question. Why do so many people want the promise of purpose, but keep gambling with the decisions that decide whether purpose survives? That is what I call the casino of casual decisions. Please write that down. Casual decisions become expensive when they are paid for with purpose. You think you are only making a small choice. You think you are only wasting one evening. You think you are only postponing one responsibility, but purpose is paying the bill. A casino is designed to make loss feel exciting. It has lights, noise, movement, celebration, and promise. Every machine says maybe this time. Every table says just one more. Every loss is covered with the possibility of a win. That is how random living works. It keeps promising you a breakthrough while quietly taking your discipline, your focus, your money, your time, and your confidence. You walk in with potential and walk out with excuses. Some people wake up every morning and throw dice with their assignment. No intention, no plan, no prayerful direction, no disciplined schedule. They let the phone tell them what to think before God tells them what to become. They let messages, moods, headlines, appetites, and emergencies arrange their day. Then at night they say, I don't know where the time went. Time did not go anywhere. You spend it without a budget. You spend money without wisdom. Then ask God for provision. You speak without discipline, then ask God to heal relationships. You consume without discernment, then ask God for a clean mind. You delay what obedience requires, then ask God why nothing is moving. Oh dear, are you thinking you cannot keep putting your life on the table of chance and then blame heaven when purpose is reduced? The most dangerous loss is not losing money, it is losing assignment. Say it out loud. The most dangerous loss is not losing money, it is losing assignment. Money can return, opportunities can return, strength can be restored. But there are seasons that, once mismanaged, do not come back in the same form. There are moments when obedience was required and delay changed the cost. Procrastination is a thief dressed like wisdom. It says, I am waiting for the right season. But many times you are not waiting for the right season. You are wasting the present season. There is a difference between timing and fear. There is a difference between preparation and avoidance. There is a difference between patience and disobedience. Don't call it waiting on God when God is waiting on you. Some of you already know what you must correct. You know the conversation you must have. You know the appetite you must govern. You know the habit you must break. You know the gift you must develop. You know the discipline you must restore. You know the environment you must leave, but you keep saying, one day is where many purposes go to die. Entertainment-driven living acts, how do I feel? Purpose-driven living acts, what am I responsible for? That is the difference. Entertainment acts, what do I want right now? Purpose acts, what was I born to complete? Entertainment acts, who is watching me? Purpose acts, who is depending on my obedience? Entertainment acts for pleasure. Purpose acts for stewardship. And please understand, I am not against rest. Rest is a law. Recreation is important, but recreation means to recreate strength for assignment. It does not mean escaping responsibility until your future collapses. If your entertainment makes you weaker, duller, poorer, more distracted, more lustful, more bitter, and more delayed, it is not recreation, it is drainage. The tragedy is not failing at someone else's life. The tragedy is never becoming what you were born to become. You can spend your whole life admiring another man's assignment while yours is buried under casual decisions. You can clap for everybody else's harvest while your seed remains in your pocket. You can be entertained by people who discipline their gift while your own gift is undeveloped. Write this down. Whatever you refuse to manage, you eventually lose. If you refuse to manage your mind, you lose clarity. If you refuse to manage your time, you lose opportunity. If you refuse to manage your body, you lose strength. If you refuse to manage your mouth, you lose trust. If you refuse to manage your gift, you lose influence. If you refuse to manage your purpose, you lose fulfillment. This is why life cannot be measured by excitement. Excitement is too unstable. Applause is too temporary. Popularity is too shallow. A life of purpose must be measured by assignment, not applause. Because success is not how loudly people celebrated you. Success is whether you completed what God designed you to do. So let us correct the measurement now. Success is not comparison. Success is completion. Please write that down. Success is not being better than another person. Success is becoming everything you were created to become and finishing what you were sent to do. This is why comparison is dangerous. Comparison gives you a false report card. You can compare yourself with somebody who is disobedient and feel successful. You can compare yourself with somebody who is lazy and feel disciplined. You can compare yourself with somebody who is lost and feel found. But another person's race cannot measure your obedience. Another person's assignment cannot grade your stewardship. Another person's weakness cannot become your excuse for mediocrity. Say this out loud. Another person's race cannot measure my obedience. Say it again. Another person's race cannot measure my obedience. You see, if you are running north and I am running east, speed does not mean success. You may be running faster than me, but if your assignment is north and you are moving east, your speed is rebellion. Oh dear. Are you listening? Direction is more important than motion. Activity is not fulfillment. Noise is not productivity. Applause is not completion. You can be busy and still be disobedient. You can be celebrated and still be outside your assignment. When I was in school, if one student made 40 on the exam and another student made 60, the one who made 60 may feel proud because he did better than the other student. But what if he had the capacity to make 95? What if he studied casually, wasted time, ignored instruction, and only produced 60 when his gift had the ability to produce excellence? He may be better than the person beside him, but he is still failing compared to what was inside him. That is how many people live. They find someone doing worse so they can feel better. They say, at least I am not like him. At least I am not like her. At least I am doing more than they are doing. No. God is not grading you by the lowest person around you. God is not judging your assignment by somebody else's laziness. God is not impressed because you outran someone who was never assigned to your lane. Write this down. Success is measured by purpose, not people. What did I say? Success is measured by purpose, not people. In other words, God does not ask, did you become more famous than your neighbor? He asks, did you become faithful with what I placed in you? God does not ask, did more people clap for you than for somebody else? He asks, did you produce the fruit I designed your life to produce? God never asked you to be famous. He asked you to be fruitful. That is important. Fame is what people know about you. Fruit is what your life produces from obedience. Fame can be created by noise. Fruit requires roots. Fame can happen quickly. Fruit takes seasons. Fame depends on attention. Fruit depends on law. Fame asks, who sees me? Fruit asks, what am I producing? And heaven is not confused by the difference. Jesus told a story about a master who gave talents to his servants. One received 5, another received 2, and another received 1. Notice, the issue was not equal amount. The master did not give all of them the same measure. He gave according to capacity. That means God is not unjust when he gives different gifts, different measures, different platforms, different opportunities, different responsibilities. The question is not, why did he get 5 and I got 2? The question is, what did I do with my 2? The man with 5 multiplied his 5. The man with 2 multiplied his 2. And the master gave both of them the same commendation. Well done, good and faithful servant. Did you hear that? The man with 2 did not have to become the man with 5 to be successful. He only had to be faithful with what he had. The reward was not based on comparison. The reward was based on stewardship. But the man with 1 buried his talent. He protected it from loss, but never produced increase. He returned what he was given, but he returned it unused. And the master called him wicked and lazy. Why? Because unused potential is not innocence. Buried ability is not humility. Hidden purpose is not safety. When God gives you capacity and you refuse to manage it, you have not preserved it, you have violated it. Some of you are burying your gift because you keep staring at someone else's 5 talents. You say, I don't have what they have. That is not the question. What do you have? You say, I don't have that platform. That is not the question. What platform did God give you? You say, I don't have their connections. That is not the question. What responsibility is already in your hand? Stop despising your 2 because somebody else has 5. Stop burying your 1 because somebody else is celebrated. The issue is not amount. The issue is management. The issue is not fame. The issue is fruit. The issue is not comparison. The issue is completion. This is why you must stop asking, am I ahead of them? And begin asking, am I faithful to him? That one question can deliver you from years of confusion. Am I faithful to him? Am I faithful with my time? Am I faithful with my gift? Am I faithful with my body? Am I faithful with my mind? Am I faithful with this season? Am I faithful with this opportunity? Am I faithful with this assignment? Because success is simply the fulfillment and completion of original purpose. If God designed you to solve a problem, success is solving it. If God designed you to build something, success is building it. If God designed you to teach, heal, create, lead, organize, protect, restore, invent, serve, or govern, then success is not applause from the crowd. Success is the completion of the work. And fruitfulness begins when you stop imitating crowds and start solving the problem attached to your gift. Your gift was not given to decorate your personality. Your gift was given to serve your generation. So now we must go deeper, because purpose becomes visible when your gift becomes disciplined enough to solve real problems. Your gift was given to solve a problem. Please write that down. Your gift was not given to decorate your personality. It was not given to make you feel superior. It was not given so you could impress people at a distance while producing nothing of value up close. Your gift is heaven's investment in a human problem. Influence is not noise. Influence is not fame. Influence is not followers. Influence is the capacity to cause other people to adjust their attention, their priorities, or their behavior because you solve something they value. Say that out loud. Influence is the capacity to make people adjust because you solve something they value. This is why people follow problem solvers. They may ignore your title. They may ignore your opinion. They may ignore your dream. But when you solve a problem that is tormenting them, they will turn around and say, what manner of person is this? That is influence. Influence is not begged for. Influence is earned through service. When your gift becomes useful, you separate yourself from the crowd. Jesus understood this. He did not simply walk around giving theories. He demonstrated laws. One day the fishermen had worked all night and caught nothing. These were not lazy men. They were professionals. They had experience. They had boats. They had nets. They had history, but they had no fish. In other words, activity was present, but results were absent. Effort was present, but law was missing. Then Jesus came and said, launch out into the deep. Look at that. He addressed location. He addressed depth. He addressed timing. He addressed obedience. He did not say, try harder in the wrong place. He did not say, cry louder over empty nets. He revealed the law connected to the result. When they obeyed, the nets begin to break. The same water, the same boat, the same man, the same nets, but a different law in operation. Write this down. The right gift in the wrong law still produces frustration. Oh dear, that is important. You can be gifted and still be empty because you are operating in the wrong location, at the wrong depth, with the wrong timing, under the wrong instruction. Gift alone is not enough. Your gift opens the door, but discipline keeps you in the room. Say it again. Your gift opens the door, but discipline keeps you in the room. Some of you are talented but undisciplined. You are anointed but inconsistent. You are intelligent but casual. You are creative but disorganized. You are passionate but untrained. And you keep wondering why people pass you by. It is not because you have no gift. It is because your gift has not yet become reliable enough to solve real problems. The world does not reward potential. The world rewards potential converted into service. A disciplined athlete is not celebrated because he owns muscles. He is celebrated because he submitted his body to law until his gift became dependable under pressure. An inventor is not celebrated because she had an idea in her head. She is celebrated because she disciplined the idea until it became a solution people could use. Builders, leaders, teachers, physicians, entrepreneurs, artists, engineers, and statesmen are not celebrated merely because they were born with capacity. They are celebrated because capacity became service through discipline. Your gift must go to school. Your gift must be corrected. Your gift must be trained. Your gift must be scheduled. Your gift must be tested. Your gift must be submitted to principles until it can produce fruit when feelings are absent. Anybody can be excited for one day. Purpose requires consistency when excitement leaves the room. So stop asking who will notice me. Ask what problem am I solving. Stop asking when will they celebrate me. Ask who is being served by my obedience. Stop asking how can I become important. Ask what burden did God design me to carry with excellence. Please hear me. Problem solvers do not have to beg for recognition. If you bring water to thirsty people, they will know your name. If you bring wisdom to confused people, they will make room for you. If you bring order to chaos, if you bring healing to pain, if you bring clarity to complexity, if you bring courage to fear, if you bring solutions to frustration, your gift will create a demand. The gift makes room for the man, but discipline determines whether the man can remain in the room. Now I want you to ask 3 questions. Write them down. Number 1, what problem am I called to solve? Number 2, who are the people I am assigned to serve? Number 3, what discipline does my gift require? Do not answer casually. This is not entertainment. If you cannot name the problem, you will waste your energy. If you cannot name the people, you will chase applause from everybody. If you cannot name the discipline, you will destroy the gift by mismanagement. Your gift is not yours for private pride. It belongs to your generation through you. God placed it in you, but He did not place it in you only for you. He placed it in you because somebody needs what obedience will produce from you. That means laziness is not personal. Indiscipline is not private. Delay is not harmless. When you refuse to develop your gift, somebody remains without the solution you were born to carry. Purpose becomes visible when your gift is disciplined enough to solve real problems. Not when you talk about it, not when you post about it, not when you dream about it, when it solves, when it serves, when it produces fruit. And this is where many people are in danger, because a gift without discipline becomes potential buried in the ground. Potential is hidden ability. Write that down. Potential is hidden ability, dormant power, untapped capacity, and unfinished assignment. It is what you can do but have not done. It is what you can become but have not become. It is what you can produce but have not produced. It is what God saw when He created you before anybody ever met you. But listen carefully. Potential is not success. Potential is responsibility waiting for management. Say that out loud. Potential is responsibility waiting for management. That means you cannot celebrate potential as if it were achievement. Potential is only proof that something is required of you. If you have capacity, then you have accountability. If you have ability, then you have responsibility. If God placed something in you, then life has the right to make a demand on you. This is why undeveloped potential is dangerous. It gives you the feeling of greatness without the fruit of obedience. You can sit in a room and say, I know I could do more. That may be true, but could is not completion. You can say, I have so much inside me. That may be true, but inside is not impact. You can say, one day people will see what I carry. Maybe. But if you never govern it, train it, discipline it, and release it, they will never receive it. A seed is powerful, But a seed is not a tree. A seed has a forest in it. A seed has fruit in it. A seed has shade in it. A seed has future in it. But if I place that seed on a marble floor, it is still powerful, but it is powerless in that condition. The problem is not the seed. The problem is the environment. The problem is the condition. The seed needs soil. It needs moisture. It needs darkness. It needs pressure. It needs time. It needs law. Oh dear, are you listening? Some of you are blaming your seed, but your seed is on marble. You are gifted, but you keep placing your gift in environments where nothing can grow. You keep your mind in distraction, your gift in unbelief, your time in disorder, your future in excuses, and then you wonder why nothing is producing. The seed is not dead, it is misplaced. Distraction is marble. Unbelief is marble. Disorder is marble. Excuse making is marble. Wrong relationships are marble. Laziness is marble. Bitterness is marble. A life with no schedule, no discipline, no prayer, no planning, no correction, no accountability, that is marble. And you cannot shout a seed into becoming a tree while it remains on the wrong surface. You must move it into the laws that make growth possible. God placed treasure in earthen vessels. That means you are not empty. You are carrying something divine in something human. But a vessel must be positioned. A vessel must be cleaned. A vessel must be filled. A vessel must be poured out. If the vessel is in the wrong place, the treasure cannot serve the right people. If the vessel is dirty, the treasure is contaminated by character. If the vessel is empty, there is nothing to distribute. If the vessel is never poured out, what it carries becomes private storage instead of public service. Some people want to be admired as vessels, but they refuse to be used as vessels. They want people to talk about their talent, but they don't want the discipline that makes talent useful. They want the title, but not the training. They want the platform, but not the process. They want influence, but not integrity. They want harvest, but not hidden obedience. Please write this down. Potential is not something to admire. It is something to govern. What did I say? Potential is not something to admire. It is something to govern. You govern it by what you feed. You govern it by what you refuse. You govern it by where you go. You govern it by who you allow near you. You govern it by what you practice when nobody is applauding. You govern it by the laws you submit to daily. And here is the declaration I want you to remember. What you could become is a command to start becoming. Say it again. What you could become is a command to start becoming. If you can become wiser, begin. If you can become stronger, begin. If you can become more disciplined, begin. If you can solve a problem, begin. If you can serve better, begin. Stop admiring the possibility and start obeying the responsibility. Potential is God's evidence against wasted living. It testifies that you were not sent here empty. It proves there is more in you than your current habits are producing. So the question is not, do I have potential? The question is, what laws am I obeying to convert potential into purpose? Because hidden ability must be managed by visible discipline. Dormant power must be awakened by principle. Untapped capacity must be brought under stewardship. So now we must talk about the laws that protect purpose. Because wishes will not protect it. Excitement will not protect it. Talent alone will not protect it. Purpose is protected by laws. And if you learn those laws and obey them, what is hidden in you can finally become fruit through you. Purpose is protected by laws. Please get that in your spirit. Purpose is not protected by emotion. Purpose is not protected by good intentions. Purpose is not protected by excitement at a conference, tears at an altar, or a promise you made when the music was high. Purpose is protected by laws. Write this down. Purpose without laws becomes frustration. You can know why you were born and still destroy it by how you live. You can have a vision and still lose it through disorder. You can have a gift and still bury it under appetite. You can have a dream from God and still sabotage it by violating principles. So I want to give you a framework. These are not suggestions. These are laws that protect what God placed in you. The first law is purpose. Before you decide what to pursue, you must identify why you exist. Do not ask what is popular. Ask, why was I created? Do not ask, what will make me money first. Ask, what problem was I designed to solve? If you do not know your purpose, every opportunity becomes a distraction. Everything that glitters will call you. Every invitation will confuse you. Every open door will look divine. But not every open door is your door. Purpose gives you the power to say no without guilt. The second law is perception. You must see yourself from God's intention, not from your history. Your past is information, but it is not your identity. Your failure is an event, but it is not your name. Your family may have labeled you. Your school may have labeled you. Your community may have labeled you. Your bank account may be trying to label you. But the manufacturer's intention is the only true definition of the product. If God designed you for leadership, stop calling yourself insignificant. If God designed you for wisdom, stop calling yourself confused. If God designed you to build, stop calling yourself broken. Perception controls pursuit. If you see yourself wrongly, you will manage yourself poorly. The third law is potential. Potential is the capacity inside you that has not yet been manifested. Stop calling it ordinary. Stop reducing what God put in you because you are familiar with it. Some of you are so used to your gift that you don't honor it. You say, oh, that's just how I think. No, that may be your assignment speaking. That's just what I enjoy. No, that may be a clue. That's just what comes easy to me. No, that may be capacity. Do not despise what seems natural to you, because what is natural to you may be the answer to someone else's crisis. The fourth law is principles. Principles are laws that do not change when your feelings change. This is where many people lose purpose. They live by mood. If they feel inspired, they work. If they feel tired, they quit. If people clap, they continue. If people criticize, they stop. That is not principle. That is emotional gambling. A principle says, I do what is right because it is right. A principle says, I keep my word even when it costs me. A principle says, I govern my body, my mouth, my time, my money, and my associations, because purpose requires integrity. Feelings are servants. They are not kings. The fifth law is planning. Purpose must be converted into systems. Oh dear, this is where religious people get nervous. They want purpose to float in the air like a cloud. No. If it is from God, bring it to earth. Put it on a calendar. Put it in a budget. Put it in a schedule. Put it in preparation. Put it in measurable action. God told Joshua that success would come as he meditated on the law and did what was written. In other words, revelation had to become routine. Vision had to become obedience. A dream without a plan becomes a burden. A plan is purpose dressed for work. The sixth law is priorities. Everything important cannot be equal. Write that down. Everything important cannot be equal. If everything is first, nothing is first. Priorities decide what must be protected before life becomes noisy. Your relationship with God must have priority. Your assignment must have priority. Your health must have priority. Your family responsibilities must have priority. Your preparation must have priority. You cannot give your best energy to distractions and then give your purpose leftovers. Leftover living produces leftover results. The seventh law is people. You must walk with people who protect assignment, not people who normalize distraction. Everybody cannot go with you. That is not arrogance. That is stewardship. Some people love you, but they do not understand your assignment. Some people enjoy you, but they weaken your discipline. Some people are comfortable with the version of you that does not obey God fully. Be careful. Wrong people make wrong living feel normal. Right people remind you who you are when your feelings try to negotiate. Purpose needs agreement. Purpose needs accountability. Purpose needs correction. The eighth law is persistence. Persistence means you keep moving when excitement disappears. Anybody can begin with noise. Anybody can start when emotions are high. But what do you do on the fifth day, the fifth month, the fifth year, when nobody is clapping and obedience is quiet? Persistence is the law that turns small obedience into visible fruit. You read when you don't feel like reading. You practice when nobody sees. You save when spending would feel better. You forgive when bitterness would be easier. You show up because purpose is too valuable to be governed by mood. The ninth law is perseverance. Persistence keeps moving. Perseverance keeps standing under resistance. There is a difference. Persistence deals with monotony. Perseverance deals with pressure. When opposition comes, when delay comes, when rejection comes, when people misunderstand you, when doors close, when the season becomes difficult, perseverance says, I will not surrender my identity to my environment. A fish does not become a failure because it is uncomfortable on land. It becomes successful when it returns to water. Some of you are judging yourself by the wrong environment. Persevere until you are aligned again. The 10th law is prayer. Prayer is not a substitute for responsibility. Prayer is connection to the manufacturer. Prayer keeps you aligned. Prayer corrects motives. Prayer gives strength. Prayer gives instruction. Prayer reveals what your eyes cannot see. Prayer is not begging God to bless disobedience. Prayer is submitting yourself to divine government so your life can remain useful. You do not pray instead of planning. You pray so you can plan correctly. You do not pray instead of working. You pray so your work remains aligned with purpose. Write this down. Purpose without laws becomes frustration. Say it again. Purpose without laws becomes frustration. A gifted person without laws becomes inconsistent. A visionary without laws becomes distracted. A passionate person without laws becomes unstable. A spiritual person without laws becomes mystical but unproductive. God never designed purpose to be protected by wishes. He designed it to be protected by obedience. So when you look at these laws, you are not looking at a motivational list. You are looking at the fence around your future. Purpose tells you why. Perception tells you who. Potential tells you what is inside. Principles tell you what never changes. Planning tells you what to do next. Priorities tell you what comes first. People determine who walks close. Persistence keeps you moving. Perseverance keeps you standing. Prayer keeps you connected. Now you can understand why shortcuts are so dangerous. A shortcut is an attempt to get the result while avoiding the law. It wants harvest without seed, influence without service, promotion without preparation, success without obedience. And any shortcut that violates principle does not shorten the journey, it lengthens the regret. Now listen carefully. The longest way to purpose is the shortcut. Write that down. The longest way to purpose is the shortcut. A shortcut looks shorter because it removes the process, but the process was not designed to punish you. The process was designed to prepare you. So when you remove the process, you do not simply reduce the distance, you reduce the person. A shortcut is the voice of impatience wearing the clothes of opportunity. It says, take the influence without serving. It says, take the harvest without planting seed. It says, take the authority without building character. It says, take the wealth without stewardship. It says, take destiny without discipline. Oh dear, are you listening? That is not success. That is theft from your own development. You must understand this. God is not only interested in what you carry, He is interested in who you become while carrying it. Because if the assignment is heavy and the person is weak, the assignment will crush the person. So sometimes delay is not denial. Sometimes delay is construction. Sometimes the reason God has not lifted you higher is because He is digging you deeper. A tall building needs a deep foundation. You don't see the foundation from the street, but the height depends on what is hidden. The public sees the glass, the lights, the offices, the height, the beauty. But the engineer knows that the secret is underground. If you build high without digging deep, the same height you celebrate becomes the reason you collapse. In other words, elevation without foundation is danger. Some of you are angry because you are still underground. You are saying, Lord, when will you expose me? When will you promote me? When will people know my name? And heaven is saying, I am not hiding you, I am building you. The foundation is not glamorous. Character is not glamorous. Study is not glamorous. Correction is not glamorous. Serving when nobody sees you is not glamorous. But that is where God makes you able to survive what you are asking Him to give you. Please write this down. Shortcuts do not strengthen destiny. They weaken the carrier. What did I say? Shortcuts do not strengthen destiny. They weaken the carrier. If you bypass discipline, you arrive unprepared. If you bypass integrity, you arrive contaminated. If you bypass stewardship, you arrive wasteful. If you bypass humility, you arrive dangerous. And when a dangerous person receives a divine assignment, they can injure the very people they were born to serve. This is why you must stop spiritualizing impatience. Not every open door is God. Say it again. Not every open door is God. Some doors are tests. Some doors are traps. Some doors are distractions dressed like promotion. The devil also opens doors when he knows you are hungry for speed. He showed Jesus the kingdoms of the world and said, I will give you all this if you bow. In other words, I can give you the crown without the cross. That is the shortcut. Glory without obedience. Rule without suffering. Authority without submission to the Father. And Jesus refused it because he understood law. He understood that you never break a law to get a result that only law can sustain. Say that out loud. Never break a law to get a result that only law can sustain. If integrity is required to sustain influence, don't use deception to get influence. If stewardship is required to sustain wealth, don't use greed to get wealth. If character is required to sustain authority, don't use manipulation to get authority. Whatever you use to get a thing, you will have to keep using to keep it. Now, remember, there is a difference between a rule and a law. Rules can be challenged. Traditions can be broken. Systems can be confronted. Customs can be corrected. Sometimes man-made rules stand in the way of truth, justice, purpose, and divine assignment. Successful people are willing to break rules for the sake of law. But they never break law for the sake of ambition. Jesus broke the traditions of men, but he fulfilled the laws of God. He challenged religious rules, but he obeyed divine principle. That is why you must discern the difference. If a rule keeps you from obeying truth, challenge it. If a tradition keeps you from serving purpose, break it. If a system tells you to betray conscience, confront it. But never violate principle and call it courage. Never violate integrity and call it strategy. Never violate obedience and call it favor. Some people are not breaking rules, they're breaking laws. They're not challenging tradition. They're rebelling against wisdom. They are not being bold, they're being impatient. They are not walking by faith, they are gambling with purpose. Oh dear, I know this is tight, but it is necessary. Because a fast result is not always success. A fast relationship is not always covenant. A fast promotion is not always favor. A fast profit is not always blessing. A fast platform is not always assignment. Success is not speed. Success is completion of original purpose. If speed destroys completion, then speed is your enemy. If an opportunity pulls you away from principle, it is not opportunity, it is temptation. If a door requires you to become less truthful, less disciplined, less prayerful, less accountable, less pure, less responsible, then that door is not taking you to purpose. It is taking you away from yourself. A shortcut that violates principle is a long road to regret. You may get there quicker, but you arrive smaller. You may get applause faster, but you lose authority inside. You may gain attention, but lose peace. You may touch money, but lose stewardship. You may obtain a position, but lose the character needed to keep it. And one day, the thing you rush to possess will expose the part of you that was never built. So before you chase the next fast door, examine the law behind it. Before you call it favor, ask if it requires compromise. Before you call it destiny, ask if it strengthens discipline. Before you call it harvest, ask where the seed was planted. Before you call it promotion, ask what foundation is holding it. Because life is not a game, and destiny is not a casino table. You cannot keep throwing choices like dice and then pray for purpose to survive. The next thing we must do is audit the choices that are already auditing our future. So now let us put the dice down and pick up the mirror. This is not for condemnation. This is not for shame. This is not so you can feel bad about yesterday and then do nothing about tomorrow. No, the purpose of examination is alignment. When a mechanic examines a car, he is not condemning the car. He is looking for what is out of order so the car can function according to design. Please write this down. An audit is an act of stewardship. If you never examine your choices will examine your future. They will stand up one day as witnesses and say, this is what you trained your life to become. Oh dear, are you listening? Your future is not only being formed by what you believe, it is being formed by what you repeatedly permit. So ask yourself sober questions. What do you repeatedly delay? What instruction has God given you that you keep postponing? What responsibility do you keep moving to tomorrow? What do you consume that weakens your focus? What do you watch that drains your purity? What do you listen to that disturbs your peace? Who has permission to influence your decisions? Who can change your mood, redirect your time, weaken your convictions, and still remain close to your ear? And here is the big one. What law are you ignoring while asking God for results? Do not pray for harvest while disobeying the law of seed. Do not pray for wisdom while feeding your mind foolishness. Do not pray for health while violating your body. Do not pray for peace while keeping disorder. Do not pray for increase while mismanaging what is already in your hand. God is merciful, but mercy does not cancel law. Mercy gives you time to return to law. Say it out loud. My choices are building something. Say it again. My choices are building something. The problem is many people do not ask what they are building until the structure is already standing. They wake up in a life they trained for and then call it an attack. But habits are prophecies in motion. Write that down. Habits are prophecies in motion. They reveal where your life is being trained to go. If you lie every day, your habit is prophesying mistrust. If you spend without discipline every day, your habit is prophesying lack. If you entertain distraction every day, your habit is prophesying unfinished assignment. If you avoid hard conversations every day, your habit is prophesying broken relationships. If you obey principle every day, your habit is prophesying strength. If you study every day, your habit is prophesying wisdom. If you pray every day, your habit is prophesying alignment. So repentance is not merely feeling sorry. Many people are sorry because the consequence arrived. That is not repentance. Repentance means to turn around. It means to return to the original design. It means you stop arguing with the manufacturer and bring the product back to the manual. In other words, repentance is not just emotion. Repentance is realignment. You do not repent because God hates you. You repent because God still remembers what He designed you to be. Repentance is heaven saying, come back to your purpose. Come back to your assignment. Come back to your right mind. Come back to the laws that make your life work. That is why shame is useless if it does not produce obedience. Guilt that does not create change becomes another prison. But conviction is a gift when it leads you back to design. Now, let me make it practical. Do not leave this moment with a cloud of emotion. Leave with a decision. Define one assignment, not 10. One. What is the responsibility in front of you that is connected to your purpose? Name it. Write it down. Make it clear enough that obedience can begin. Remove one distraction. Not every distraction at once, because some of you will get dramatic and quit by Thursday. Remove one. Delete one habit. Cancel one unnecessary appetite. Close one door that keeps stealing your attention. Obey one principle. If the principle is honesty, tell the truth. If the principle is discipline, keep the schedule. If the principle is stewardship, manage the money. If the principle is purity, clean the environment. Repair one relationship. Some of you cannot move forward because your pride is standing at the doorway. Make the call. Send the message. Apologize without excuses. Forgive without pretending it did not hurt. Set the boundary without hatred. Purpose does not need every relationship restored, but it does need your heart clean. Then begin one disciplined routine, one prayer time, one study time, one writing time, one exercise time, one planning time, one practice time. The power is not in doing something once. The power is in training your life until obedience becomes normal. If you are watching this, I want you to make a declaration. Write it where you can see it. And if this is the place to comment, put it there. I choose purpose over random living. Or write the specific truth you are choosing to believe about God's original purpose for your life. Do not just hear truth and admire it. Answer it. Because once you see the danger, neutrality is gone. You cannot say, I did not know. Now you know. Your choices are not small. Your habits are not silent. Your delays are not empty. They are building, they are training, they are prophesying, they are voting for a future. And if you do not decide, life will decide for you. If you do not govern your appetite, appetite will govern you. If you do not govern your time, distraction will govern it. If you do not govern your relationships, influence will govern your direction. So the next step is not more information. The next step is decision. You must decide before the dice are thrown. You must decide before the dice are thrown. Do not wait for crisis to force the discipline that wisdom could choose today. Some people only become serious after the doctor speaks, after the marriage is shaking, after the money is gone, after the door is closed, after the child is wounded, after the opportunity has moved on. That is not wisdom. That is reaction. Wisdom says, I will obey before pain becomes my teacher. Write this down. Purposeful living begins when decision replaces drift. What did I say? Purposeful living begins when decision replaces drift. Drift is dangerous because drift never announces its destination. Nobody drifts into discipline. Nobody drifts into holiness. Nobody drifts into excellence. Nobody drifts into assignment. Drift always follows the current of the loudest appetite, the closest influence, the easiest option, and the strongest pressure. Emotion may start a moment, but decision builds a life. You can cry tonight and still disobey tomorrow. You can feel inspired and still remain undisciplined. You can shout about purpose and still manage your time like a gambler. Emotion is powerful, but emotion is not government. Decision is government. Decision says, this is who I am. This is what I obey. This is what I will not negotiate. If you do not decide your values, your appetites will decide your future. Say that out loud. If you do not decide your values, your appetites will decide your future. Appetite never asks permission to become a master. It starts as a desire, then becomes a habit, then becomes a demand, then becomes a prison. That is why you must establish values before temptation arrives. You must decide honesty before the lie can profit you. Decide purity before the invitation comes. Decide stewardship before the money arrives. Decide obedience before the shortcut appears. A decision is not real until it governs something. Do not tell me you decided until your calendar knows it. Do not tell me you decided until your bank account knows it. Do not tell me you decided until your relationships know it. Do not tell me you decided until your private life has evidence. Decision without evidence is imagination. Consecrated decision means you place your life under the purpose of the King. Every gift you have must be managed for the King. Every day must be managed for the King. Every relationship, every idea, every resource, every opportunity must be managed for the King. You are not the owner. You are the steward. The owner has the right to define the use of the product. The manufacturer has the right to define the function of the thing he created. So your life is not asking, what do I want? Your life is asking, what was I assigned to manage? This is why you must write a purpose statement. Some of you may not know the whole thing yet. That is all right. Start with the light you have. Write this. At this stage of my life, I am responsible to obey God in this area. Put the area there. My mind, my family, my body, my finances, my gift, my studies, my business, my ministry, my integrity, my healing. Make it plain enough that tomorrow morning can recognize it. Do not make a mysterious statement that cannot be obeyed. Make it practical. At this stage of my life, I am responsible to discipline my gift. At this stage of my life, I am responsible to restore order in my home. At this stage of my life, I am responsible to prepare for the problem I was born to solve. That statement becomes a boundary. It tells distractions, you cannot enter here. It tells appetite, you are not in charge here. It tells fear, you do not get a vote here. And anchor that decision in prayer. Prayer is not an escape from work. Prayer is reconnection to the manufacturer's mind. You do not pray so you can avoid responsibility. You pray so you can carry responsibility correctly. You pray so your motives are purified, your hearing is sharpened, your courage is strengthened, and your obedience is submitted. Prayer brings the product back to the manufacturer and says, check me again, align me again, send me again. So now gather the whole matter. Your life was designed. Laws govern the design. Choices reveal whether you respect the laws. Gifts were given to solve problems. Potential is responsibility. Discipline protects purpose. Shortcuts violate process. Audits expose direction. And decision ends drift. You are not here for random entertainment. You are here for faithful completion. Success is not being busier than others, louder than others, richer than others, or more admired than others. Success is completing the original purpose for which God created you. So decide now, before the dice are thrown, before the pressure rises, before the appetite speaks again. Decide as a steward, decide as a servant of the King, decide as one who must give an account. So now hear the final charge. Live as a steward, not a spectator. A spectator watches life happen. A steward manages what the owner placed in his hands. A spectator comments. A steward accounts. A spectator waits for excitement. A steward asks, what was I trusted with, and what does the king require? Write this down. You honor God by managing your life as an assignment, not treating it as a game. What did I say? You honor God by managing your life as an assignment. Your life is not random. Your birth was not random. Your gift was not random. Your mind, your season, your opportunity, your relationships, your resources, your pain, your lessons, your time, none of it is meaningless when it is submitted back to God. We have gathered the matter. Life is designed. Purpose is original. Laws make outcomes predictable. Choices create harvests. Gifts solve problems. Potential proves responsibility. Discipline protects destiny. Shortcuts violate process. Audits expose direction. Decisions end drift. So do not gamble with what God designed intentionally. Do not throw your days like dice and then ask heaven why your harvest is confused. God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. That is not a threat. That is a law. Seed produces after its kind. Focus produces clarity. Preparation produces readiness. Stewardship produces increase. Purity produces strength. Diligence produces mastery. Forgiveness produces freedom. Planning produces order. Prayer produces alignment. You do not have to guess your future when you can inspect your seed. So for the next 7 days, I want you to refuse random living. 7 days. Begin every morning with one question. What choice today cooperates with God's purpose for my life? Say it before the phone takes your attention. Say it before the pressure starts talking. Say it before appetite begins negotiating. What choice today cooperates with God's purpose for my life? And then obey the answer. Not admire it, obey it. If the answer is focus, turn off the distraction. If the answer is preparation, study while others are sleeping. If the answer is stewardship, manage the money, manage the time, manage the body. If the answer is purity, close the door. If the answer is diligence, finish what you started. If the answer is forgiveness, release the debt and recover your heart. If the answer is planning, write the schedule. If the answer is prayer, get along with the manufacturer and receive instruction. Do not try to obey everything in one emotional moment. Identify one law you must obey immediately. One law. Make it plain. I must obey the law of focus. I must obey the law of preparation. I must obey the law of stewardship. I must obey the law of purity. I must obey the law of diligence. I must obey the law of forgiveness. I must obey the law of planning. I must obey the law of prayer. Then let that law govern your next decision. A life becomes powerful when it comes under government. Freedom is not the absence of law. Freedom is the right law producing the right result. A fish is free in water, not on land. A seed is free in soil, not on tile. Your life is free when it is placed back inside the purpose and laws of God. Anything outside design becomes a burden, even if it feels exciting for a moment. So stop watching your life from the seats. Get on the field of obedience. Stop blaming the season while violating the laws. Stop blaming people while mismanaging your gift. Stop blaming God while ignoring instruction. This is not condemnation. This is responsibility. And responsibility is the doorway to dominion. If this teaching is feeding your spirit and calling you higher, subscribe and stay connected, because we are not here to build religious spectators. We are here to grow in kingdom identity, purpose, leadership, and disciplined living. We are here to become people whose private order can sustain public assignment. And before you leave, make a declaration. Put it where it becomes a witness against drift. Comment the truth you are choosing to live by. Say, I was designed for purpose. Say, I choose discipline over drift. Say, my life is an assignment. Or write your own sentence of alignment with God's original intention. But do not leave silent. Truth requires a response. May God give you courage to obey what you have heard. May He expose every place where randomness has been ruling. May He restore order to your mind, your calendar, your body, your relationships, your finances, your gift, and your spirit. And may you not merely hear this teaching, but act upon it until your life becomes evidence of divine design. Go and live as a steward. The owner is watching, and the assignment is holy.